everybody, welcome back to the Parker Byrd Show here in the Legless Lounge, where we dive into stories of resilience, faith, and a lot of overcoming adversity. Today, I have the absolute honor of sitting down with someone who has inspired millions of people, including myself. He's a man whose story isn't just about sports, it's about mindset, perseverance, and a purpose. Inky Johnson was a star on the University of Tennessee's football team, just one step away from NFL, his dream, when a single play changed his life forever. A devastating injury left him with a permanent nerve damage in his right arm, ending his football career. But instead of letting that define him in the negative way, Inky has used that to inspire many people around the world. Today, Inky is one of the most powerful motivational speakers out there, sharing his message of faith, resilience, and gratitude with audience all the way from business leaders to athletes. His story reminds us our circumstances do not define us, but our response does. I couldn't be more excited for this conversation because, like so many others, Inky's words have inspired me. So let's get started. Inky, how you doing today, brother?
Great, man. Great. Honored to be on. Thank you so much for the opportunity, man.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the dialogue.
Hey, I'm glad that you're here in Greenville, man. Pirate
sure.
Nation is
sure.
really excited. We get to talk to Inky later today. He's talking to the baseball team, so we're really pumped. The guys are excited, and we're very grateful that you're here, man.
Definitely.
But first question for you, man. Will you just take us back to, the moment where everything happened on the field and what was kind of going through your mind during that time?
Yeah, so it was September 9th, 2006. I was a junior, starting at corner, and it was just like any other game, man.
Yeah.
We were playing against Air Force, great group of guys, disciplined group of guys. Found ourselves in a dogfight. Fourth quarter rolled around, a little bit over 2 minutes left in the game. The play unfolds, and their quarterback drops back. Just a routine pass to that guy, and I go to make a routine tackle. But at the point of contact, when I hit him, it seemed as if every breath in my body left. And I had never felt that before. Been in a lot harder collisions. And I fell to the ground, and I blacked out. When my eyes opened, I had a shock going from the crown of my head to the bottom of my feet, and I couldn't feel anything. And the shock eventually left, but it stayed in my right arm and hand. And I remember my teammates saying, like, Ink, get up, let's go. And I was like, I can't. And that was the first time in my life, because I always prided myself on, if I made a tackle, got knocked down, just bouncing up. It's kind of a psychology game. Even if a guy got the best of me, I'm going to jump up just to mess with you mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get a big hit on this, I'm going to just pop right up.
So what, brother?
If you want to talk trash, you're going to be like, oh, man, you really didn't pop, even if you got me, right? But I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And they're like, what you mean you can't? Like, I was like, man, I can't. And so, 2 hours later, man, I found myself in the emergency room, and they had to perform life-saving surgery, and next day I woke up, my life has never been the same again. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. There's, so much adversity that comes with that. Obviously I've done a lot of research on you, but, your early bringings, your childhood, man, how did that impact, your mindset going through that adversity, all the early days and how you were raised?
Man, I was a kid, man, that I was always grateful for people that helped me. And I was cognizant of that at a young age. A lot of people did a lot for me coming up. In my circumstances, born to a mother, 16, I was raised in a 2-bedroom home with 14 people. And so me and my cousins didn't start playing ball in organized sports. We would just play in the street, in the neighborhood. And so a guy coming down the road one day signed me and my cousins up. And me and that guy became really close. He was a business guy. He was just helping a lot of kids, and he signed so many kids up that I remember the lady at the registration table saying to him, like, hey, man, you've paid for so many kids. Just get a team.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
And they placed me on his team. It wasn't like he went in there and was like, I want this kid on my team, this kid. They just placed me on his team. And I would watch him because he was just a nice guy, man. He would treat people with respect. And me and him became really close. And he really took a liking to me, and he would come to school, check on me, hold me accountable, and he really impacted my life, outside of sport. One Christmas Eve, me and my family got robbed, I tell people all the time, man, my mom always went to church.
Mm-hmm.
From the time I
Wow.
was a kid, my mom would be in church like Sunday, Monday, whenever the doors open, my mom's at
Yeah, yeah,
church, bro. Like,
yeah, yeah.
and so we got robbed, man, and my mom didn't call a pastor, she didn't call a deacon, she called the guy that was my little league coach,
That's
and he
awesome.
showed up. I'll never forget, he showed up, and it wasn't about what he did for us. Even though I was grateful for that, it was
Mm-hmm.
more so about he showed up. And so that guy, man, he taught me a level of gratitude, but also he taught me to look beyond the sport,
Mm-hmm.
and it changed me. So even at a young age, I understood like working hard, dedication, and commitment.
Yeah,
It was about something greater than the sport.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Were there like any sense? Because I know in my life, after my accident, after my amputation, I was in the hospital room with my mom, and I was obviously down. And mom was like, "Why are you down?" And I was like, "Well, mom, I don't think I'll ever be able to play baseball again." And baseball was my whole life, man. I played it since I could walk. And she was like, "Well, why do you say that?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but there's never been an amputee to ever play Division I baseball." Not to my knowledge, at least. And she's like, "Well, there always has to be a first. Why not you?" And that stuck with me ever since then. Was there anything kind of in your early bringings, like any sayings or anything that just kind of stuck with you to today?
Yeah. It was just, man, like, first off, bro, that's strong,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Like,
She's the only reason I got up and wanted to keep going, because if not, bro, it's easy to fall in that slope of why me, right?
absolutely.
And say, why
Yeah.
not me? And
That's
once
strong.
you flip that switch and the perspective changes, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
all it is.
No, that's beautiful,
Yeah.
man. It's I was just raised whatever I encountered, this too shall pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's temporary, it's not permanent.
Yeah.
Whatever situation, adversity, opposition, challenges, it's temporary. That's just how I view life. I
Mm-hmm.
view life as a kid. I view life still present day. It's temporary. It's not permanent. So this too shall pass. But it was more so about, okay, what are you gonna do with this? Like, what are you going to do with this paralyzed arm? What are you going to do with this situation and circumstance? But early on, it was tough. Like you said, like, it was extremely tough. Like, I looked in the mirror, I didn't even look the same.
Yeah.
Like, I know you went through, what, 20-something surgeries?
22, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like,
crazy.
you went through way more surgeries than me. Like, I went through just, like, 3 major surgeries, but, like, I didn't look the same. My physique had changed.
Right.
And so early on, it was tough, just trying to find perspective.
Yeah.
And my mom, like your mom, I remember someone saying, like, is it over for him? And my mom was like, nah, it's not over. It's just the beginning, And that helped me kind of harness the situation, find perspective, and figure out, okay, Ink, how are you going to impact the world with this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Because at one point, like you love baseball, I love football.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, bro, I really felt as if God had put me on this earth to play football.
Yeah.
I loved everything about it. I loved the way the grass smelled. I felt like God put me on this earth to play ball. And when I could no longer do that, it was about, okay, Ink, how can you find purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, how can you still impact the world in spite of what has happened to you? How can you use it to go out and add value to the environments you go into and the people's lives that you come in contact with?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's figuring that out.
Yeah. And what is that? Because I was about to ask you the same thing, because, you do have to switch that mindset, because you're a football player all your life. I was a baseball player, but it's easy to get wrapped up in that being your identity. What, is your purpose after your accident? And
I would say one, man, is just realizing, just as an athlete, who we are as people will always be far more important than who we are as athletes, right? No matter how athletic we are, no matter how great we may be, or just as an athlete, period, who we are as people will always be far more important than who we are as athletes. But also looking at a situation and figuring out, okay, man, what's the value I can gain and extract from this? Because oftentimes if we go through something to where we have a situation, it impacts us, the average person is going to look at that situation and say, okay, Parker, what did you lose, man? Like, how did it really impact you? What did you have to give up?
Yeah.
What did you have to sacrifice? Very few people will look at the situation and say, okay, Parker, I get it, man. Like, bro, tough break. What did you gain from it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how did it make you a better man? Like, how did it make you a better team member? How did it make you a better leader? How did it make you a better son?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did it do to your perspective? What did it do to your perception? And so for me, asking those questions to myself, and once I got the answer, like perspective, all the things that I say when I say perspective drives performance. How I view what I do will impact and affect how I do what I do,
Yeah.
right? All these things, commitment, staying true to what you said you would do long after the mood that you said it in has left.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things came from the process of recovery after my injury. You know how it is, showing up every single day,
Mm-hmm.
doing rehab and not getting any results.
At 1%, getting 1%
You
better.
see?
Yeah,
Can I stay committed to what I said I would do long after the mood that I've said it in has left?
Yeah.
Staying committed, showing up. Perspective. Can I find perspective every single day? I never thought I would speak.
Yeah.
When I did it, it was just therapy for me.
That's right. Well, I was in the same
Yeah.
shoes because I do a lot of speaking now, and I kind of found my purpose a little bit through that as well. But my mom, I'm from a small town in North Carolina, South North Carolina, in a little place called Laurinburg. But it's a country town, man. I had a country accent and mumbled a lot growing up. My parents used to tell me, "I'll tell you one thing you're not going to be in life. It's going to be a motivational speaker." And I was like, I don't want to do it anyways.
Right,
I want to play
right.
ball, and here I am now. And God, has such a way of, His humor is awesome. But perspective is so big to me. I actually have it tattooed on my arm right here in all different types of ways. It's like every letter's different. Just change your perspective. It's
That's awesome.
It's so big to me. But a lot of people, we were talking about adversity, but a lot of people struggle with that in silence. A lot of people, mine, your accident was very public and everybody could see our adversity, but a lot of people go through stuff that you can't even see. What would you say to somebody that is giving up, that doesn't feel like anybody gets them, and just giving up in life?
Man, I would say sometimes, man, the hardest person to forgive is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes we can forgive another person a lot quicker than we can forgive ourselves. And so I would say, give yourself some grace. Oftentimes we think we have to have it all figured out, or if we see somebody else going through a similar situation or just a piece of adversity and opposition, and you see them dealing with it a certain way, you can compare yourself to them, right? And we all know the quote, man, comparison is the thief of joy. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's path is different. God's plan for everybody is different. But first and foremost, give yourself some grace, man, right? And just get up and pick up the pieces, right? You don't judge each day by the harvest you reap. You judge each day by the seeds that you sow, right? Sow your seeds every single day, right? Whatever that may be in terms of growth, in terms of development, right? Like every single day, man, I would get up. I remember saying to my little group, man, that I was with, my father, team chaplain, my mom, guy by the name of JD, he was a PT.
Yeah.
And we would always go back and forth to Minnesota to the Mayo Clinic on these visits together. And every day I would get up, I would say, man, I just got to try to capture perspective today.
Yeah.
Right? Just capture your perspective and just find it. Right? And every single day I would get up and try to capture perspective. And so take it step by step, day by day. Then when you get to a place of peace, then you can go out and share. Not that you want to be a speaker, but I firmly believe we go through things in life. So when our brothers, our sisters, our friends, people in the community go through something, not that you're trying to tell them how to get through it, but you could just share with them, hey, man, like I've been in a similar spot
Right.
with my adversity, bro. Like stay the course.
Yeah.
Stay strong. Let me pray for you.
Yeah.
Something like that. When you get to the place of peace, you can share that with them, man. But always be willing to give yourself some grace, man, on your journey of growth.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And,
Sure,
and
man.
you've kind of mentioned a little bit about faith, and I know faith is
Absolutely.
huge to you. It's also huge to me, man. But what role did faith play in that mindset whenever you were handling the adversity? Because to me, Jeremiah 29:11 is what I relied on, and it says that He has a plan for us to, not harm us, but to prosper us and give us hope in the future. And
Absolutely.
I really held on to that during my time at adversity. Like,
Sure.
how did faith play a role in your adversity?
Yeah, man, that's my life verse as well, man. Jeremiah
That's awesome.
29:11, man. But I can honestly say with you, man, like I wouldn't have handled my situation the way I handled it if it wasn't for my faith. When I got to college, I started my spiritual discipleship my freshman year, me and my roommates. And so I was already on a journey of spiritual development with our team chaplain. And so when the injury happened, I was already in a different space in terms of my spiritual growth, in terms of my language, in terms of just how I view life, my perspective. And so it wasn't that when it happened, I was like, okay, cool, I got this. It wasn't that because I didn't. But I had some level of perspective because I was already in a routine and a process to where I was being entrenched within the word. And so it kind of helped me respond a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think if I wasn't a part of that process with our team chaplain, I can honestly say I wouldn't have responded in the manner that I responded.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I would have had the perspective that I had at the time.
And your mom being, so driven into church, that probably played a huge part in it as well.
Absolutely.
Seeing her growing up, just, relying on the Lord and, putting all her trust in that.
100%,
That's awesome.
man.
And, you always say the process is more important than the product, right?
Yeah.
And you've talked about focusing on the process rather than the outcome. How can people learn to embrace the process, especially when, they're struggling and or facing a lot of setbacks?
Absolutely. It's very easy when you're chasing something to get, caught up on the outcome, the result. And that's cool and that's great. But oftentimes if the result changes, does it change you? Right? Does it change what you say you're true to? Does it change your dedication, your commitment to what you're chasing? And very often it changes what people bring to things when they don't get the result or the outcome that they're seeking. There's very few people that can still show up with the dedication, the commitment, the fire, the heart, the passion, when the outcome is not what they want it to be.
Yeah.
They can say, okay, cool, let me pick up the pieces, I'm back at it, let's go back to work.
Yeah.
Very few people can do that. Oftentimes, if they don't get what they want, it changes their approach. It changes how they show up. And so for me, when I say process over product, it's basically just saying process over outcome. Right? Show up and stick to the process of what you do. Show up and stay true to the things that you know can bring you some level of peace, right? Peace is not the result or the reward. Peace is the fact that I showed up and I gave everything to what I was a part of because this is who I am and this is how I operate. The outcome will take care of itself if I do what I'm supposed to do. And so just enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. The outcome will be what it's going to be. That's the byproduct.
Yeah.
Let's lock into what we do and the things that we know can give us a chance at having an outcome that we seek to have.
Right, yeah. And here at ECU Baseball, we're really, focused on the process, right? Like,
Absolutely.
we say process over outcome all the time. And, baseball is, and really sports in general, but baseball is such a game of failure because, if you're batting 300, that's 3 out of 10 times, and you're considered a Hall of Famer at the big league.
Baseball, man.
So, how has sports, specifically football, really, played a role in that mindset? Because, there's a lot of failure, even in football.
Absolutely.
You don't score every drive. You don't, lock up the wide receiver every time. So,
Absolutely.
how has that, growing up playing sports, kind of installed that in your brain?
And, my approach was always, when I would compete, I just looked at it like, all right, Ink, you competing against guys that are dogs as well.
Yeah.
They're going to make a play here and there, man. It's going to happen. Now, you're going to give everything you got to something, and sometimes you're just not going to get the outcome you want. It's just not going to turn out the way that you want it to. But enjoy the process of competition, right? Enjoy that, man. Enjoy the fact that you can strap it up every single time and really go at it. Right? But I always looked at it like, okay, man, it's going to be plays made on both sides. Enjoy it. Learn from it.
Yeah.
I got placed out on the field young, right? I was on fire young, but my freshman, sophomore year, I got dogged out a lot, right? And I'll be out, bro. I'll be on the field laughing. Guys I remember linemen would pull. I would try to go meet them, man. They would pancake me. I would be laughing, bro. And they would mess with them psychologically. They're like, what this dude doing laughing? Yeah. But I loved it. I just loved the game, right? It wasn't to where they pancake me and I'm like, oh, man, he got me. I loved it. I'm going to come right back.
Right.
And I'm going to come right back. You got me that time. But the next play, I'm going to come right. I'm going to be in your face the exact same way. I loved it. That was just my process in terms of how I am as a competitor. That's how I try to teach my kids, right? Just like in baseball. My son plays baseball. Hey, bro, if you don't get him the first at bat, cool, stay calm. You're going to get another shot, And so it's just showing up, man, every single time and enjoying the journey and the process of what you're a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my perspective,
awesome.
and you got this, I'm sure, like with my career ending the way that it did, I just look at sports totally different,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm sure like with you, when you were in the hospital and you said you were talking to your mom, like, hey mom, I don't know if, and then you come back and you get the opportunity, I'm sure your perspective with how you do it
So
is
much more
totally
grateful.
different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, my perspective about the game with my children as a father, that's helped me a lot,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I
for sure.
can't imagine how much kids has made you, you grown in the last years as well.
Man,
How many of them do you have?
two.
Two.
Yeah, 13-year-old son, 14-year-old daughter.
Oh, wow. What's
Yep.
their names?
Jada and Ink. So my son, he's a junior,
Junior. I
and my
love it.
daughter's Jada. Yeah, man.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Are both of them in sports or just
Yeah,
just
both,
junior?
man. My son, he's baseball, basketball, track. My daughter, she's lacrosse,
Yeah.
cheer, track, and they do chess club. So my son, he plays for East Cobb Astros
Oh, dude, they're sick.
organization down in
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah, they got
so-
some nice facilities down there too.
Yeah,
At East
yeah.
Cobb.
Yeah, they get after it a little bit, man.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
some studs in my class in that organization. So
Yeah.
Tamar Johnson, all those good guys.
Oh yeah,
but-
tomorrow. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yep.
sick, dude. But talking about accidents, people a lot of times, apologize to me. Hey, I'm sorry, so
Mhm.
sorry this happened to you. And I have to tell them that, hey, this is no accident. God, allowed this to happen to me, and He allowed this to happen for me and open up so many doors. I'm getting to talk to you today because of it. What's one lesson through your injury that that taught you what you wouldn't have learned without your accident?
Man, that's a great question. It just taught me the fragility of life.
Mm-hmm.
How quickly things can change. And oftentimes, like if you do something or you're a part of something, you can often forecast change. If you're in business and you can see things happening, you can kind of forecast change. It's very few people that have encountered things to where things have happened and the change happened and it's life altering right on the spot. Like that changes you.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's things that change and then it's things that change people.
Mm-hmm.
Like who they are, how they see life, how they do things. And so because it showed me the fragility of life, now everything I do, I just want to do it a certain type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I understand that, hey man, you could wake up tomorrow and life could be on top of you and you could have no control over it. And so that comes with being a father, being a husband, being a big brother, being a son,
Mm-hmm.
right? You just look at life different when your life has been altered by something that you gave everything you had to. Like what age you start playing baseball? You would say.
Man, my first toy was this toy that I could sit down on the ground and hit this little toy that would go round and round as a
Yeah.
ball. So I mean, I've loved baseball ever since I could even recognize what things were. But my
Yeah.
first organized game was probably when I was 5 years old. I played with my 8-year-old cousin,
5.
and hit lead off. So I was pretty proud of it.
That's what I'm saying,
It's
man.
pretty
Like
cool. Yeah,
5, right? You
Yeah.
started at 5. I started playing football at 7.
yeah,
And at 20 years old, I lost it.
right.
I've been playing since I was 7. That's a lot of work. You playing since you was 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of work. And then one day you go out to do something and you lose it.
Right.
Like in your life changed. And now you got to adapt to a new normal. Very few people have that experience. And so a lot of people can do things. I used to tell guys all the time, the hardest part of my injury wasn't my injury, even though that was tough.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest part of my injury was showing up and watching people do something that I once did, and they took it for granted.
Yeah, same here, brother. Hey, everybody. Children's Health Services understands the importance of your child's well-being from day one of them being born in the hospital. All of the providers there are top-notch, so make sure you guys go and check them out for the best patient care out there. They have one location right now on Arlington Boulevard and have a second location coming soon on 10th Street. So make sure you guys go and check them out. And thank you to Children's Health Services. I went to, first year here, my freshman year after my accident. I was still on the team, but I was taking kind of a gap year just to rehab and all that.
Absolutely.
And hardest part to me was, going out to the practices and sitting there watching it because I'm like, man, I should be playing shortstop right now.
Mm.
I should, the comparison game.
Yeah,
I was playing it,
sure.
and then, I had that switch. So you know what? I'm just gonna work hard until I'm playing there again. But,
Yeah, man.
So I mean, we kind of share the same mindset where it's like, that's the hardest part.
Yeah,
it
man.
really is.
Because it gives you perspective and it makes you want to do things a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's perfection, but you're just grateful that God gave you the opportunity to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and that kind of helps me stay motivated every single day. Is this is, I don't have to do this. I get to do this.
Absolutely.
Just switching that, because it's powerful how much, if you just say, I get to do this, it gives you so much more gratitude. And how do you, kind of tell people to stay motivated on days where, they don't really want to, because, they haven't handled something like we are, and sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the monotonous of things. How do you keep people motivated?
It's just, it's like when you're young, right? This is the thing I learned about myself, like as a young father, and some people look at me and be like, hey, you're still young. But like as a young father, like in my 20s, right? Like your kids will tell you something, you'd be like, okay, cool. And you're working and you're traveling and, you're picking them up from practice, you're going to school. And then one day your daughter comes in, she's like, hey, Dad, I got the recital. And you forgot. And you probably got to go to New York, right?
Yeah.
But you thought you were going to remember it, right? Because you just relied on, okay, got you. Yep, Jada, you got that? Cool. I got my schedule. Cool. And then when you forgot, you saw the disappointment on her face, right? And as you get older, you start to put certain things in place in your life to be intentional, to make sure that you don't forget. And it's just like the talented athlete syndrome. When you're young, you're talented, you're skilled, you can do things, you can roll out of the bed, guy can come up to BP, hit the ball 400 feet, whatever, right?
Right.
And then you get to a point to where when talent meets talent, talent is no longer enough. You're going to meet somebody that can hit just like you, meet somebody that throw just as hard as you, meet somebody that's just as fast as you. And so now what matters most? Showing up on time, integrity, dedication, commitment, being a good teammate, right? Going the extra mile. So how do you do these things? You work on other skills, right? You journal, right? You put things in your locker to remind you why it's important. You have an accountability group, right? So on the days when you're not feeling it, you got somebody that you can pitch and catch with that can remind you, hey, bro, don't take it for granted, right? You just put things in place that help you shape your perspective and edit your life so you can become the individual that you're destined to become.
Yeah. And are you in an accountability group?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's, just talk about how big, group settings are, because it's helped me grow faith-wise, accountability-wise. It's helped me grow, leadership-wise. Just talk about how much, a group setting and people to help push you is.
Yeah, so I still got the same accountability group that I formed my freshman year of college.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
We still talk every week, man. It's 5 of us. One of the guys, Sinclair Cannon, he's from Greer, South Carolina. Gerard Mayo's from Hampton, Virginia. Robert Ayers, he's from New Jersey. He moved down to South Carolina his senior year and went to high school. And Ramon Foster, he's currently living in Tennessee. But we talk every week, just as brothers. Just last week, one of us went through something to where, as friends, we were trying to tell one of our brothers, like, hey, man, you don't have to go through that on your own, right? And he was like, nah, I needed to go through this on my own. I'm in a good place right now. But it's just stuff like that, letting each other know, hey, bro, I'm here for you. Hey, man, how's the kids? How you doing with your walk with God? How's your prayer life? Not that anything needs to be perfect, but you just got people around you that you could just start dialogue with, that that's willing to walk with you on the journey no matter where you are in life. That's the power of accountability, right? That's the power of those groups, man.
Yeah. And then, it really holds you accountable and makes sure that your life's in, the way it needs to be.
For sure,
awesome. Inky, was there like I know for me it's been this way, but was there a specific moment that you realized that, my story is bigger than football, that, I can impact so many people, inspire others? Were there a specific time where you're like, it kind of clicked in your brain?
You know, bro, like, the reason I'm so grateful for what I get to do is I never thought I would be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know how, like you said, your people was like, I know you're not gonna be a motivation. That's how my people were. My dad, all the time, he would be like, bro, I know you're not gonna be a speaker, because I came up inner city Atlanta, man. Like, I used to always say, you know what I mean? You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
know.
I would talk. You know, I had my little mumble talk from the city, and so me doing what I'm doing, I took public speaking my first year. I dropped the class on like the second day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was terrified, and I thought I would never need it. And so me doing what I'm doing, man, every opportunity I get, bro, I know it's being guided by a source and by force that's a lot greater than me, and that's God, because I didn't choose it.
Yeah.
Like, if God would have came down and been like, all right, Ink, after your football career, you got the opportunity to speak or play soccer, I'd have been like, let me play soccer. I'm cool. Like, I don't want to speak, right? I
Yeah.
never thought I would be doing it.
Yeah.
And so when somebody comes up and say, hey, man, I watched this with my son. Hey, man, I sent this to my daughter. Somebody stopped me in the airport. Like, that means a lot to me, you know, because that's confirmation that I'm doing what God wants me to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm extremely grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, success has really like changed since my accident. Before I was, hey, I had to go 2 for 3, 3 for 3, 3 for
Yeah.
4, and that's successful. How do you define success now?
Yeah.
As more mature, learned a lot of lessons in life. How do you define success?
Peace.
Yeah.
You know, success for me now is peace, man. You know, my mom used to always say, if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most people will hear that statement and think it applies to price, and it's not. Sometimes it's about relationships. If somebody costs you your peace, you know, that person might be a little bit too expensive. Sometimes it's about environment. If an environment costs you your peace, that environment might be a little bit too expensive, right? And so for me, what success is doing things that bring me peace. Because when I'm in a peaceful state, I'm a better father to my children. When I'm in a peaceful state, I'm a better husband to my wife. When I'm in a peaceful state, I'm a better big brother to my 3 little sisters. When I'm in a peaceful state, I'm a better son to my mother and my daughter. When I'm in a peaceful state, I'm a better servant, right? That doesn't mean that I'm always in a peaceful state, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. But that's what I'm striving for every single day, to operate from a place of peace, because that's what I believe success to be, because I believe that puts me in the best space to be the best me that I'm capable of being.
That's awesome.
And so for you, what would you say? Because you said it used to be 2 for 3 or whatever. How do
Yeah.
you define success?
I would say success to me, is inspiring people.
Yeah, man.
Allowing people to find their purpose through God, and just telling people that, hey, just because adversity hits you, your life isn't going the way you want it. Your plan isn't working, but God's plan's so much greater, and because
Absolutely.
He will open up so many doors if you just stay obedient to Him. And just like, for instance, this past week is just a prime example of God working, because I had a sack fly on Wednesday, but my dad wasn't at the game and my dad's been a huge part in mental state, rehab. I mean, he's in the cages with me ever since I was growing up, but
Wow.
he just kind of increased it since the accident. But it's just been, he's been through everything with me, and he honestly has taken it way harder than me, because I'm so happy that my accident happened to me, because now I get to use my platform to inspire others. But if you ask my dad a question, he'd be like, honestly, I wish he was the starting shortstop right now. And
No doubt.
it's just different walks. But this week, God allowed my dad not to be there on Wednesday, but me to get my first RBI. But my dad was there this past Friday to see my first hit. So it's just like crazy what God's plan is. And I was like, Wednesday, I was like, man, I should have hit that ball over the fence, bro. Honestly, I missed it. I was like, it's cool, I got the RBI, but the competitive nature in your
No
head, it's
doubt.
like, I missed that ball. It was middle fastball. I should have
Absolutely.
hit a double.
Smacked it, no doubt.
But he allowed it to happen for a reason, and just showing people that, hey, just because life hits you hard, don't mean life's over with at all.
Absolutely, man.
And that success to me is just reaching out to people and showing that God's great, and that
That's strong.
his promise never fails.
That's strong, man.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Ink, man, last question.
Yes, sir.
If you could leave the audience with one thing, one piece of wisdom, what would that be?
Man, I would say just keep getting up, man. Right? No matter where you are in life, and of course I say that from a place and thought of when you go through things, because I believe most people know how to respond and know what to do when things are going great.
Mm-hmm.
It's when things don't go great or things don't go the way you want it to that it alters your character, right? And so when things don't go the way you want it to, keep getting up, right? Whatever it is, business, life, marriage, sports, injury, keep getting up, right? And that's something that I had to subscribe to personally, right? Because I'm sure, like you, we went through something to where it was different times in the process to where it didn't look like it was going to be much out of the process, right? I remember them saying to me, like, hey, Ink, we're not seeing nothing, right? And in this rehab, we ain't seeing nothing, man. I'm like, nothing, right? And I thought, like, okay, man, like, what is this? And now I look back, I'm coming up on almost 20 years of public speaking. I never would have thought, bro.
Yeah.
Ever. But, I kept getting up, man.
Here you
Kept
are.
pressing forward, kept putting one foot in front of the other. And through that, God's grace was revealed and God's plan was revealed. And so keep getting up, man.
That's right. Hey, everybody. The new Shimmer Boutique website is up and active now. Make sure you guys go and check that out at shimmerboutiqueonline.com for some of the best brands out there, including Yeti, Pimp Shrimp, and Local Boy. They also have my t-shirt, the Parker Byrd shirt, at all of their locations in Greenville, Winterville, and Jacksonville, and online at shimmerboutiqueonline.com. Make sure you guys go and check that out and have a great day.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, before we leave, can I pray for you, man?
Absolutely. Love that, bro.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for today. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with Inky, Lord. I hope that his words, just motivate so many people. It's inspired me so much just today and throughout my accident, Lord. I just thank you for him. Thank you for getting him here safe, Lord. I pray for his words, just to keep inspiring others, to him just to keep showing up and inspiring people and knowing that his purpose is a lot bigger than just his accident, his football career, Lord. To know that he is here for a reason, Lord. We thank you so much, and we love you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. I had an excellent talk with my friend Inky Johnson. Inky, thank you so much for coming on to the Parker Byrd Show here.
Thank you.
And guys, stay tuned. Episode, I don't even know what episode it's going to be now, 5 maybe, is coming soon your way. And Ink, thanks so much again, man.
For sure,
we
man.
love you here, and
No doubt.
so thankful for you.
Proud of you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Happy for you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Always.
For sure.
God bless, guys.
Yeah.